All and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about the fire accidents in Delhi and Gujarat. It is about that. Before we go to the editorial analysis, let us have a look at enrichment. As usual, you improve your comprehension skill, a new topic, a new dimension, new words, vocabulary, grammar consolidation, effective English, and vocabulary consolidation. Let us start with the question, what is this editorial about? This editorial discusses a serious issue of negligence in fire safety in India, highlighting the recent devastating fires at a gaming center in Rajkot, Gujarat, and a newborn nursing clinic in Delhi. As I said, two places fire accidents, one Gujarat, the other Delhi. It is about highlighting, based on these two devastating incidents, highlighting the negligence in fire safety. What is the tone? Because lives are involved, it has to be urgent. The tone of the editorial is critical and urgent. But here, based on the word newborn, you have to know two words. One is prenatal. We also use antenatal. ANTE, not ANTI, mind you. Antenatal means before birth, and postnatal means after birth. New means you have to know the prefix neo. Neo means new. All these you have to either learn or recollect and consolidate. Let us have a look at the vocabulary from today's. Some new words are there. The very first word, insidious, part of speech adjective, proceeding in a gradual, subtle way. Here, B is silent. Subtle means a slight, but with harmful effects. Something spreads very slowly, gradually, without before you realize, and it has harmful effects. A negative word. The disease was insidious, spreading without any noticeable symptoms. It was spreading, but no noticeable symptoms. It was spreading in a subtle way. Synonyms, stealthy. Stealthy has a different connotation. It means a secretive. It goes more with meeting. You should also recollect the word clandestine. Subtle, cunning, treacherous. All negative words. This is a negative word. Straightforward, honest, open, direct. Simple words. Incendiary, an important word. Part of speech adjective, meaning designed to cause fires or stir up conflict. Two dimensions. One goes with fire, another goes with provoking or giving a speech that provokes the public. Stir up conflict, second dimension. Look at the example, goes with the second dimension, not with fires. His incendiary speech ignited the crowd into a frenzy. Means what? His provocative speech ignited the crowd into a frenzy, a lot of excitement, anger, all these. Synonyms, inflammatory. This also goes with speech. Provocative, as I've just used twice or thrice. Combustible goes more with fire. Two different meanings, two different sets of words. Calming, soothing, peaceful. This is an important word you have to remember. Grim usually takes the word reality. It also takes the word grim picture, grim scenario. Part of speech adjective, what does it mean? Forbidding or uninviting. But more than that, generally grim future. We also use one more combination. means lacking humor or hope. It goes more with hope. Do remember. Forbid means a prohibit, forbidden city. There is one city in China. Forbid means to prohibit. Example, the future looked grim. As I said, it goes with future. The future looked grim after the company declared bankruptcy. Bankruptcy means what? You should also recollect one more word as prospective bankers. What is it? Insolvency. To become penniless. To be in a position where you cannot pay your debts, clear your debts, bankrupt. Simple English, we say, I am broke. I am broke. Informal English means what? I don't have money. Effective, we say, bankrupt. Stern also means a strict. Better word, bleak. Harsh also, you can say somber. Not exactly, but important word to remember. Exactly, Tripura Sundari. Very good. Cheerful, bright, hopeful, pleasant. All simple words. Pervasive. All pervasive. There is one expression. God is all pervasive. A standard expression. Means what? God is everywhere, spreading widely throughout an area or a group of people. Spreading widely. The corruption was so pervasive that it affected every level of government. So widespread that it affected every level of government. But usually, when we talk about corruption, last time also I told you, guys, what is the word you have to recollect? Rampant corruption. Corruption is rampant, means widespread. Widespread, prevalent, omnipresent. We got this yesterday. All are important words. Rare, scarce, limited. Stakeholders, part of speech noun, individuals or groups with an interest or concern in something, especially a business. Usually it goes with a business. In business, we say, who are the stakeholders? Means the investors, those who started the company. All stakeholders must be considered when making corporate decisions. All stakeholders, those who have something in that particular company, must be considered, passive voice, when making or while making decisions. Synonyms: interested parties, investors, as I said, shareholders, non participants, outsiders. Protocol, an important word. Investors, exactly. Part of speech noun. Official procedures or rules. The lab strictly follows safety protocols to prevent accidents. This also goes with, imagine the Prime Minister visits a particular state. The CM of that particular state has to receive the Prime Minister. That is a protocol. Established official procedures. Procedures, guidelines, regulations. Antonyms: improvisation, disorder, chaos. You can consider these two words. Apparent, we have got a few times. Part of speech adjective. Obvious, clearly visible or understood. Simple word, obvious. Something obvious goes without saying. The tension between them was apparent to everyone in the room. Means it was quite obvious to everyone in the room. Obvious, evident, clear. Simple words. Norms, standards, touchstone, yardstick. Very good, Tripura Sundari. Antonyms are hidden, obscure, uncertain. Obscure also means not known to many people. A typical example: obscure writer, obscure hill station, not very popular, not known to many people. Headway, an important word, part of speech noun. It takes a verb make headway. Forward movement or progress. Basically, headway means a progress, especially when this is slow or difficult. When something is a bit difficult or slow, there's some progress, we say we have made headway. Despite the challenges, we are making headway in the project. Perfect example. Progress, advancement, improvement. Stagnation also goes with water, usually, and a situation. No development. A regression, setback. But setback, usually, I give the word failure. Tailor made has nothing to do with a tailor. Tailor made means part of speech adjective. Made, adapted, or suited for a particular purpose or person. Generally, we use a combination in the field of education. Tailor made course means it is a course designed keeping in mind the needs of the learners or the needs of a particular group. Then we say tailor made course. The course, see here the same thing. The course was tailor made to meet the needs of advanced students, not for beginners, advanced students. Specific, custom built, personalized, bespoke. But generally, we don't use here because it goes with courses, generally, policies, custom built, personalized, better words. Generic, standard, specific, opposite, generic, generic, standard, off the shelf. A run of the mill also you can say. This is an important expression you have to remember. Generic also an important expression you have to remember. Appalling we have got recently means what? Shocking. Part of speech adjective. Causing shock or dismay. Horrific. You have to remember these words. The living conditions in the refugee camp were appalling. Means the living conditions were shocking. Horrific. Shocking, dreadful also you can use. Horrifying. Wonderful, excellent, pleasing. Cuff up. You all know the word cuff. Cough, we say. Cough up means phrasal verb. To give something, especially money, reluctantly or under pressure. Not willingly, unwillingly. He finally coughed up the money he owed. Means he returned the money he owed. Surrender, pay, fork out. Fork out, a new expression you have to remember. Not exactly surrender, pay back. Withhold, retain, keep. You can use all these words, but simple words. Let us go to the editorial. What is this editorial about? Fire accidents. Two places. One state of Gujarat and Rajkot, and the other Delhi. Based on this editorial, first it starts with the incidents within a gap of 24 hours, the death toll, how many people got killed. Then it talks about the legislation. There should be some mandatory things or some protocol. It talks about the legal dimension. But this particular legal dimension, not mandatory, it is only recommendatory in nature. And it talks about in the constitution whether it belongs to the center or the state or implemented at the municipality level, constitution dimension. Then it also talks about the negligence part and what has to be done. Shortage, it talks about lack of uh, resources and also lack of manpower. And it talks about the action to be taken. This is a broad framework. Insidious, incendiary. Insidious means harmful but spreads very slowly in a subtle manner. And incendiary goes with fire in this context, causing fire. On the negligence, as I said, it talks about the negligence. On the negligence of fire safety in India. What is the main idea? India's policymakers must address the threat of building fires. India's policymakers must address, must use to, it has two functions. One, personal obligation, here obligation imposed by the writer. Very good. And the other, to convey the idea something is compulsory or mandatory. That's right. India's policymakers must deal with the threat of building fires. Easy to understand the main idea. How does it start? The devastating fires we have got many a time. Devastate means what? Cause heavy damage or destruction. Damage on a large scale, we use the word devastating. Usually it goes with a natural disaster. The devastating fires at a gaming center in Rajkot, Gujarat, and a newborn nursing clinic in Delhi within 24 hours of each other, which left over 30 dead, is another grim reminder of one of India's insidious threats. What are those threats? The pervasive nature of the negligence of the fire safety of buildings by a whole range of stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders when it comes to fire safety? Builders, proprietors, regulatory authorities. Editorial is blaming all these, pointing out, accusing. But in a nutshell, what does the sentence say? It talks about the incidents happened in Gujarat and Delhi. It talks about the death, how many people got killed. And it also says these incidents are a grim reminder. Grim generally means a sad, without any hope. Reminder of one of India's insidious threats. Insidious threats means what? A threat that spreads very slowly, but not visible, gradual, in a subtle way, not in an obvious way, spreads slowly. What is that? Fire accidents. The pervasive nature, pervasive means spreading widely, of the negligence of, here negligence, pervasive nature of the negligence of the fire safety of buildings by a whole range of stakeholders. All these are to be blamed, the stand taken by the editorial. Who are the stakeholders? Builders, proprietors, regulatory authorities. While the Bureau of Indian Standards has set detailed fire safety protocols in its National Building Code of India NBC 2016, it is a recommendatory document as fire services is a state subject and enforced at the municipality level. The problem is here. It talks about the legal dimension and the protocols. There should be some protocol. And where do you see the protocols? And who has designed? While the Bureau of Indian Standards has set present perfect tense active voice, has set detailed fire safety protocols in its National Building Code of India NBC 2016. Unfortunately, it is not mandatory. It is a recommendatory document. Mandatory one will implement. Recommendatory they may or may not. Why is it recommendatory? Why not mandatory? Because fire services, today you all know Indian constitution we use a particular term. What is it? Quasi federal. Quasi federal. Not completely federal, not completely unitary. A mix of unitary and federal forms. For that we say not quasi, quasi. Quasi also you can say, but generally we say quasi, quasi federal. Because fire services is a state subject and this is a central body, it cannot enforce, it is not mandatory, it's only recommendatory. Fire services is a state subject and enforced at the municipality level. This is the root cause. The sheer disregard for India's fire safety norms, I use quite often, I say sheer waste of time. Sheer waste of time. What does it mean? You can also use with money, sheer waste of money, complete waste of time, complete waste of money. Here, sheer disregard, complete disregard means no respect for India's fire safety norms, no compliance, and no adherence. You have to recollect, comply with, adhere to, stick to, and abide by. All are very important. India's fire safety norms mean standards. Already one of the students has posted related words. The sheer disregard for India's fire safety norms is apparent, means obvious, something that goes without saying, from the opening lines in the About Fire Service background. Unfortunately, this sheer disregard for India's fire safety norms is apparent, obvious, where none other than from the opening lines in the About Fire Service background page of the Director General Fire Services website under the Ministry of Home Affairs. There itself you see disregard. What does the sentence say? It reads, the fire services are not well organized in India, admitting the problem. The opening sentence says the fire services are not well organized in India, adding, in recent years, the requirements for fire safety cover have increased many-fold, an important expression, have increased many-fold, present perfect tense, active voice, means many a time. Whereas the development of fire service has not made much headway. Requirements have increased many-fold, but the development of fire service hasn't made much headway, hasn't made progress. The National Disaster Management Authority had recommended past perfect tense active voice. Why past perfect? Happened in the past, first action, first recommendation. Had recommended to the 13th Finance Commission an allocation of 7,000 crore to revamp India's fire and emergency services, renovate, rebuild India's fire and emergency services. But the commission sought an allocation of almost 90,000 crore. Here, the National Disaster Management Authority had recommended to the 13th Finance Commission how much allocation of. I will not suggest on this platform, listen to the analysis, don't ask off the track questions. I've told many a time. Any question, any help, ask at the back end of the session. Jagdish, this is listen to the analysis. I'm doing the analysis and you ask which book to be followed, and so many times that too, I'll block you if you do that. You will not be able to express your views once I block you. Ask at the back end of the session. Listen to the analysis. What do you think I'm doing? Analysis for what? For your enrichment. You ask off the track questions, not acceptable. Distracting other for others also, distraction. A revamp India's but 7,000 crore, but the commission sought an allocation of almost 90,000 crore, 7,000, 90,000 crore at the municipality level, recognizing the need for a tailor-made revamping and restructuring of fire and emergency preparedness. Means based on the local conditions, a revamping, tailor-made, based on the needs, requirement. A 2019 Home Ministry response to the Rajya Sabha noted that India had only 3,377 fire stations, when a 2012 national report on fire hazards, dangers, and risk analysis sought more than double that number. The staff shortage, all this talk about the shortage. Services plural. The staff, it can be singular also when it is taken as a whole. The staff shortage is even more appalling. Appalling means what? Shocking. Look at the numbers, definitely it is appalling, shocking. The entire country had only about 55,000 fire servicemen in 2019, when the requirement was about 5,60,000 7 years earlier. Where is 55,000 and where is the requirement of 5,60,000? So much gap. The center belatedly delayed, it means set aside 5,000 crore last July, asking states to cough up another 1,400 crore to modernize emergency services. Cough up means what? To pay, take out money unwillingly or reluctantly. This follows a 15 Finance Commission's advice, noun, BISC is a verb form, to set aside 12.5% of all allocations towards the national state disaster response funds. With the rising heat waves and extreme weather events nationwide, it is clear that a synchronization, synchronize means a match, of the 2016 NBC and the Energy Conservation Building Code is required to attempt a holistic approach. I always tell students holistic means what? Complete, touching every dimension. Here you have to recollect words like comprehensive and also exhaustive. They usually go with syllabus, policy, procedure. Approach, typical combination. Holistic approach to address fires as standards for construction material, electrical, wiring, air conditioning, and a whole range of cooling materials have to be revamped. All these things have to be worked on. Only then we can prevent fire accidents. More importantly, India's polity, bureaucracy, policy makers, and entrepreneurs must urgently address this insidious threat, the threat that is spreading slowly, not in a visible manner, in a subtle manner. It ends on that note. And those who have been, I would like to tell you guys, do remember when the analysis is being done during the live session, listen to the analysis and learn something, improve your comprehension skill, your vocabulary, your grammar knowledge, consolidate. Don't ask off the track questions. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. If you want to answer questions based on comprehension,